Good evening, Colorado and the Rocky Mountain Mile High region. What is up? It is a Friday edition, Denver Sports Tonight. I am Cecil Lammey, and Russell Wilson is gone. Or, well, he will be soon enough. I want to be very clear about that. We're saying bye-bye to Russell Wilson on tonight's program because the NFL salary cap has gone up by $30 million that we weren't really expecting. We weren't expecting it to go up this much. You know it always goes up. But now going up that extra $30 million, I mean, I believe as we sit here today, and I believe it's the 23rd of February, KJ, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't have a calendar in front of me. I think Russell Wilson's likely cut in the next week. 10 days, something like that. What's that put us at? Somewhere March 3rd, something like that, right?
Yeah, that puts us about March 3rd, March 4th.
Okay, well, the new league year is starting soon enough, and you have that decision, and 4 days into the new league year, his 2025 money kicks in. So when I say that, oh my God, Cecil Lammey said Russell Wilson's going to be cut in the next 10 days. Well, yeah, that's just the calendar, That's not any sort of special insight. That's just time is ticking. And time is almost up on the Russell Wilson era. The salary cap has gone up. The Broncos, in my opinion, will be considering eating all of the 84 dead million. When you make a mistake, and Lord knows Russell Wilson was a mistake for this team. When you make a mistake, it's best to wash your hands and move on. And you move on as quickly as you can. If you just keep delaying this, if you just keep pushing it back and well, we're going to pay half the dead money now and then half the dead money next. And then it's how are you building a team? How are you advancing? If you just take it on a chin for 1 year and you eat $84 million in dead money, it's not a good look for George Payton, by the way. But if you eat this $84 million, you're free and clear next year, right? And the salary cap is going to go up again. So now in 2025, it'll go up, 10 million, 20 million, whatever. It won't go up 30 million. But now that the salary cap has increased in the National Football League, it gives you the kind of movement, a little bit of wiggle room, right? Because they will technically, if they eat all the money and they say, here's $84 million to not play for the Denver Broncos anymore. If they eat that, well, they're really eating, $50 million this year. Now, that's a huge number. It's embarrassing that we have to have this conversation. Honestly. This entire Russell Wilson era. How do we remember this? I know how we remember the Trevor Siemian era, if it was even an era. I know how we remember Joe Flacco. I know how I remember Case Keenum. How do we remember what Russell Wilson did and mainly did not do with the Denver Broncos? And then you got to pay to get rid of him, essentially, so he can go to Pittsburgh and play for $3 million a year and lead that team to the playoffs. Remember, and I've said this on this show, Russell Wilson's going to go somewhere and have success. Get ready for that Broncos country. He doesn't fit here, but it doesn't mean he can't play. So when Robert Griffin III is going on TikTok and saying, I've watched all of Russell Wilson's, and you got to put the respect on his name, and Russell Wilson he's a top 32 quarterback. I go, yeah, no kidding. Wanted to say something else, but I won't. No kidding, RG3. Yeah, he's a top 32. He's a top 22. I could push that as high as, let's say, 15. So when you say, well, what are you doing? You're letting go a top 15 quarterback. It's tough to find quarterbacks. Russ can still play. Let's go Broncos. Yeah. It just can't work here. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, right? Isn't that what they say at closing time? You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Russ can't play football here, but he still can play. And that's because of Sean Payton. Sean Payton is that guy. He's got his system, he's got his way, and Russell Wilson doesn't fit his way. So today is almost the perfect time to say goodbye to Russell Wilson because there is no reason to keep him. The marriage is broken. Things don't work. So you're going to keep that going because #reasons? And the financial stuff, because that's the main thing that you hear. there's two things that you hear from Russell Wilson supporters. And God bless you if you're, big Broncos fan and you're excited for Russ and this is not a drill and like all that stuff. All the good memories. We don't have many. We don't have many good memories with Russell Wilson. But of all the good memories, the few that you do have, you can't look at it and say, hey, let's keep doing this again. It wasn't enough. It wasn't good enough. At the end of the day, it's basically oil and water. It does not mix. Sean Payton, Russell Wilson do not mix. The salary cap is increased. It's going to be much easier to get rid of Russell Wilson, which they will do likely within the next 10 days. And I understand you can say, well, there might be a chance we keep him. And okay, anything is possible, but what's probable? What's very probable that before March 5th, Russell Wilson is gone. And the Broncos have moved on, and they're going in a different direction. Is that direction J.J. McCarthy? Is it Bo Nix? Is it Drake May? That's a conversation that we'll continue to have. I leave for the scouting combine over the weekend, and I'll be there Monday, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and all that kind of stuff, like ready to go for the scouting combine in Indianapolis. I'll be there all week. I'll be there into Saturday and watching the quarterbacks throw. Like, so much is going to happen a week from today, and I will still be in Indianapolis. Again, quarterbacks throw on Saturday, but I'm talking to the quarterbacks on Friday. Think of what's going to happen within a week. My man Drew Spivak, hashtag bring back Spivak, he was talking about hockey night in Canada, eh? Like, okay, cool. You got some Nuggets games coming up that you're excited about. Okay, cool. But think about the monumental shifts that are going to happen with the Denver Broncos in a week. This is the week. This is the time. You're at the scouting combine. You're around every other team. And here's what every other team is going to tell you. Thanks, but no thanks. We're not going to trade for Russell Wilson in that god-awful contract. Terrible contract. Horrible. The Broncos can sit across from other teams. And the cold pops will be flowing in Indy. I will be there. And I'll be getting as much information for you guys as I possibly can, reporting for it for you right here, denversports.com. But as the pops are flowing, whether it's Low Miller's or Prime 47 or that one hotel bar, I can't remember. I think it's the Sheraton. But anyway, okay, that is going to happen. And then when that happens and everyone says no to Denver, hey, Pittsburgh, you interested in trading? No. Hey, Atlanta, you interested in trading? No. Hey, New England, you interested in trading? No. When it becomes 1,000% obvious that you are not going to trade Russell Wilson, then the Broncos can make the decision. The decision that they've been pondering for a couple of months now and probably longer than that. What was that, week 5, whatever? When this team's 1-5, they're thinking about how to get out of Russell Wilson. So all of that thought, emotion, will turn into action for the Denver Broncos as Russell Wilson, the time to say goodbye to Russ is now. The time to say, hey, good luck in the next stop. I don't look at Russell Wilson with any sort of ill will. In fact, I just feel bad about this whole thing. And I've said it a million times, and I'll repeat myself a million times. Russ is a good guy. He's a good guy. Sure, he's a cheeseball, right? He's corny, whatever. But he's not Ben Roethlisberger. He's not Deshaun Watson, and I'm not going to go further on those two, right? Russell Wilson's a good man. It's just not going to work here. And that's why this whole situation just sucks, right? It's not like I'm mad at Russ and like, Russell Wilson sucks. Let's go Broncos. No, it's not. It's not really that. Russ just does not fit at all with Sean Payton. This isn't a Sean Payton thing either because the Russell Wilson defenders, they'll say a couple of things. They'll say, give Russ a chance, and they'll bring up the offensive line, which is completely false. They're number one. They were not number 1. They were number 8 in pass block win rate. This is the advanced data that you need to know. I'm never going to give you stats that don't make sense. Hey, they're DVOA, blah, blah, FBS, blah, 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 blah. And nobody cares, right? You start filling a bunch of stats in people's heads, nobody cares, right? So the one thing you need to know, 2 things technically. They're number 3 in run block win rate. They're a good run blocking unit. They're number 8 in pass block win rate. They're pretty good in pass protection. It's just that Russell Wilson runs into sacks. So when Russ defenders say, hey, he doesn't have any playmakers, Courtland Sutton had 10 touchdowns. Jerry Jeudy's a pretty good route runner that slant routes couldn't be seen because Russell Wilson doesn't throw to the inside. Okay, tight end, you got me. Running back, not as much as people think. Javonte's, he was trying, right? He's trying, a little banged up, whatever. I think Samaje could have done more. But anyway, there's a lot of excuses lined up. The excuses are over. It's time to put those excuses away. It's just not going to work because Sean Payton doesn't want to work with Russell Wilson anymore. And I'm pretty sure if he was honest, and Lord knows I don't know if he could be honest in this way, because Russ is always super positive and super, hey, let's go, team. I would venture a guess in a private moment that Russell Wilson would say, yeah, I don't really want to play for Sean Payton. Man, that was tough. Man, that was difficult. Sean tried enough, and Russ tried. So you had two people come together that don't fit. They tried, and it didn't work. Sounds like it's time to move on. And if you're the Broncos, now that the salary cap has gone up with a record amount, why not move on and just pay for it all and just there's an Anthrax song we can't play, KJ, but it says, I blanking wash my hands of this. Yeah, exactly. I blanking wash my hands of this Russell Wilson situation, and I just feel bad. I'm not mad. I know. I feel like when I come in here sometimes, everyone feels, does like the whole Jerry Maguire after he got fired thing. It's like they're just waiting for me to flip out, right? What's Cecil going to yell at tonight?
That's always the motto. It's like, we for a long time, we had a little bit right there at 5:45.
Right.
Guessing what is Cecil going to yell about tonight?
What am I yelling at? Who am I yelling at? Losing my voice. It's not even that energy. It's mostly just sadness. This sucks. This was supposed to work. This was supposed to fix the Denver Broncos. My God, for the love of God, it's been so long. I wanted Russell Wilson to work, man. And I can't even say that I'm a big fan of Russ. I know what he can do. I know what he can't do. I certainly respect and appreciate what he can do. I know that my son, he did not like Russell Wilson because Russ puffed up to me at the Senior Bowl and, son defending his father. I appreciate that, son. But it's like, man, I wanted Russell Wilson to work out. Because Russ can still play. He just can't play here. Russ is going to go to Pittsburgh and make good plays. Russ is going to go to Atlanta and make good plays. And people are going to say, see, that's what the Broncos should have done. Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they keep him? Because he doesn't fit with what Sean Payton wants to do. And that's the bottom line. 14 minutes before I went professional wrestler. That's the bottom line. So it's time to say goodbye to Russ and say, thanks for trying, Russ. I really do believe. First year with Nathaniel Hackett, that's whatever. That's Team 3 making a mess. You had a group of people that were around Russell Wilson, and doctors and whatever, trainer, quarterback coach, and whatever, like sports psychologists. Like, oh, okay. Team 3, get this. Team 3 could tell the Broncos, oh, he's done practicing today. They could tell an NFL team when their player was done practicing. That stuff does not, should not, and will not fly. So the first year with Nathaniel Hackett, whatever. Hackett, there's a lot of bad things I could say about Nathaniel Hackett, whatever. I do believe in being in that locker room every day that it's open to the media. I do believe that Russell Wilson tried. Like this year, he was more visible in the locker room. It was funny because guys would have a couple different sound systems, which leads me back to when Vic Fangio took Von Miller's Bluetooth speaker out of his locker. Hey, Vic, way to endear yourself to the players. Can you stop all that rap music, please? You got any spaghetti and meatballs? It's so bad when Ray Jackson has to tell him, like, hey, can you not take a man's property? I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying, hey, I really want these players to like me. What are you playing that hippity hop for? Get that out of here. Right? Okay, thanks, Vic. So they had a couple of different sound systems, guys, Bose speakers, whatever. And Russ would come in, like some rap would be playing, and Russ would come in and then he'd change it to, some of the softer side, little R&B, whatever, which is fine. But Russ was there. I was in that locker room last year, every day that it was open to the media in 2022, and I didn't barely see Russell Wilson in the locker room. And I know he had his own office or whatever. It's like, that was odd. Maybe that's the best way. If you could have one word to describe the Russell Wilson era, what would it be? You might be watching me on YouTube. Comment down below. You might be listening on 104.3 The Fan, so comment on the ramoslaw.com text line at 303-713-1043. I need one word to sum up the Russell Wilson era. It's about over. It's about done. Salary cap went up $30 million. You could eat it all if you wanted to. But I say in the next 7 days, 10 days, Russell Wilson will not be a Denver Bronco. I'm going to be at the Combine next week, so obviously I'm not doing Denver sports tonight. So tonight is the night that I say goodbye to Russell Wilson. And I don't feel good because it's not like Russ was obviously terrible. And it's not like Sean Payton is Nathaniel Hackett. You know what I mean? So it's like you got a good enough quarterback. You got a good, maybe even great head coach. And it doesn't work. Like, how does that happen? For a team that has been struggling for so long, for a team that has been down so long to get, hey, now we got a good, maybe great head coach. Now, this quarterback, and he's won a Super Bowl, and you put them together, and it just doesn't work. It's like salsa on a donut, which I have tried, by the way, KJ. It wasn't good. Salsa on a donut. Don't do that, okay?
Yeah, I wouldn't advise it either.
You wouldn't advise it? Okay. So when I reflect on Russell Wilson and just kind of his era, I just say it's odd. It was odd. Nathaniel Hackett, that era was odd. Russell Wilson tried this last year. I at least saw him in the locker room. He was like around the fellas, hopefully not talking about his two butlers. Memo to Russell Wilson. Wherever you go, probably leave the two butlers conversation for you and Sierra at dinner, okay? When you have to go to Waffle House or whatever because your second butler took the day off. Oh, my God, what do I do? You make a sandwich, Russ. Okay? Spicy. You should know. Then he had that Subway card. He gets Subway free for the rest of his life, right? Isn't that the rumor, right? That all the spokespeople, Steph Curry and stuff, yeah, they get the. It's like the black Amex, right? I don't have one of those. I have friends that have those where you could like just buy a car or whatever. It's funny. Who was I talking to? I was talking to one of these rich guys, one of these rich former players, and I was like, "How much your car payment on that?" And they're like, "Car payment." You're so funny. But Russ is just odd. Just odd. Like, it's disappointing. That's one word I could use as well. It's disappointing, it's odd, it's frustrating, and it's sad. I don't sit here with any sort of joy to say, like, Russell Wilson didn't work, like that. I take no joy in that because I wanted it to work, because I thought it would work. You're getting Russell flipping Wilson. How does it not work? Okay, Hackett, whatever. But how does it not work? Okay, Russ is just the old dog. He's not going to learn new tricks. He's going to play his way, and Sean Payton doesn't want that. I give Sean Payton credit for trying. He might have tried a little harder. I give Russell Wilson full credit for putting his massive ego to the side, and make no mistake about it, he may come across as like, I'm super everybody guy, like I'm super positive everybody. He's got an ego, and I'm fine with that. I never, ever want my quarterback, smart quarterback, to not have an ego. I don't want Mark Sanchez, okay? I don't want Stuart Smalley. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. I don't want that. I want the quarterback to say, I'm the man. He goes out on the field, he's not the man, but still, I'm the man. And Russ was that guy. He put the ego to the side, kind of, And he tried, and it didn't work. So when you are a Russell Wilson fan, and if you are, God bless you, right? It's okay, man. You love what you love. It's, I was excited about Russ too. But if you're a big Russell Wilson supporter and you're like, oh man, Sean Payton, this sucks or whatever, all I have to say is this. Both parties tried and it failed. So why keep it together? Why force things that aren't working? Why would you want to do that? The answer is you don't, and the answer is you won't. You will move on from Russell Wilson. I'm predicting in the next 7 days to 10 days. That's what will happen with the Denver Broncos. So it's time to say goodbye to Russell Wilson, whether it's social media, whatever. But, be respectful, because that's the best way to be. But then just go like, man, what happened? How did we get here? You know what I mean? Like, there are moments in this Broncos reality where I honestly think we've shifted dimensions. Because the Broncos used to be the snip, snap, snap. And now they're kind of irrelevant. Jim Harbaugh getting all that talk, right? With Justin Herbert, maybe now with J.J. McCarthy. The Chiefs can't stop winning Super Bowls. And I have Chiefs fatigue, and I cannot stand the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't hate a lot in life. I hate the Baltimore Ravens. Sorry, Brandon Stokely. I pretty much hate the Kansas City Chiefs, too. Sorry. My buddy Luke's out there sold me some comic books. He's a big Chiefs fan. Thanks for the comic books. Listen, I just feel sadness when I think of Russell Wilson with the Denver Broncos because it was supposed to work. It was supposed to be glorious. Remember when he had the cleat that said forthcoming soon? Remember how flipping cool that was? To have a guy that came in, the Go Hawks, all that. Have a guy that comes here to the Mile High City that understands the history that has been laid out here before him. There's a rich tradition here. It has not been rich over the last 7 years. Since Super Bowl 50, and if you want to throw in 2016, fine. Since 2017 till now, the Broncos have been so downtrodden. So to have Russell Wilson show up, have forthcoming soon on the cleats, to understand the history that was before him, it was so cool. It was like, man, here we go. Let's go Broncos. This is going to be fun. It wasn't fun. Where's the Morgan Freeman? Right? This is going to be fun. In fact, it was not fun. That's my Morgan Freeman impression. It's terrible. I'm sorry. I should probably practice that a little bit more. You know what I mean? I could do a pretty good Cartman impression, but no, not Morgan Freeman. In fact, it would not be good for the Denver Broncos. So I feel it's time to say goodbye to Russell Wilson. Nothing's official. They could still totally keep him around for whatever reason. I see no reason to keep Russell Wilson around. And with the new league year starting very soon, and with the calendar rapidly, I can't believe it's almost March. It's time to say goodbye. And thanks. I guess to be a human about it, which we all should strive to be. Please be human. Don't be dumb, don't be in a cult, and please be human. But to put a human side on things is like, thanks for trying, Russ. I wish it would have been different. But it wasn't. And now the Broncos look elsewhere.